Welcome back to another video on the channel where Novak Djokovic was 2 sets to love up against Tsitsipas a couple of hours ago. I thought I would have recorded and got this video out much earlier, but an incredible comeback from Tsitsipas forced a 5th set decider, which Djokovic eventually took 6-1 to set up Sunday's final against Rafael Nadal, who early defeated Diego Schwartzman in straight sets. And I'm going to kick off my semi-final reviews by talking about the Nadal against Schwartzman match before moving on to Djokovic against Tsitsipas and eventually giving my preview and prediction for the final. The opening game against the Nadal and Schwartzman match sort of set the tone, a 15-minute long game. It was important that Diego Schwartzman took his breakpoint opportunities. I said in my preview I thought the match would be close in patches, but Nadal brings way more experience and got that winning record at Roland Garros over 5 sets. I thought Diego, if he got chances, he had to take them, and straight away it was costly. I think he had 2 or 3 breakpoint opportunities in the first game to sort of start well and put Rafa on the back foot and put Rafa under pressure. Didn't take any of them breakpoint opportunities, and then Rafa broke straight away to go 2-love. The problem for Diego today was really just couldn't develop the pace on his serve to hurt Rafa, and I thought Rafa returned exceptionally well. He got depth and pace on his returns to put Diego straight under pressure and get neutral in the rally. I thought Rafa did. He returned excellently, very aggressive, moved in, won the points quickly, and Diego found it very difficult to hold serve. I think once Diego got into rallies, he more than matched Nadal. He hit lots of clean winners from mid-court. He hit the jump backhand down the line very well, the drop shots, and I thought Diego battled very hard. He's had a fantastic few weeks, very good clay court player. Battled Djokovic in the final, but obviously beat Rafa in Madrid as well, in Rome, as well. He's had a fantastic few weeks. He moves into the top 10. I think he's 8th in the world now, so fantastic for him. Rafa's forehand started to warm up at the back end of the first set. In the second set, it warmed up. His technique's quite incredible. Said on Twitter, it's one of them shots that you could just sort of watch for hours and hours. The whipped forehand is such a good shot that he's obviously used so effectively at Roland Garros and throughout his whole career. And interesting from Rafa, I thought it really worked. He used the deep lob very well. We know Diego was a very short guy, and the moon ballings maybe is not the most great shot to watch, but it's very effective. Diego wasn't in control of the high bouncing ball, and he often gave Nadal a short ball, which offered Rafa a chance to come in and move into that forehand and power winners into the corners. I think once Rafa got the first set under his belt and sort of got the good start that he'd have wanted and won the all important first set, he sort of started to swing freely in the second and third set, and his power really started to shine through and he started to bully Schwartzman in patches. I thought from midway through the second set, when Rafa broke, the match was sort of on his record. As soon as Rafa returned well for one game and was really aggressive and turned it on and found the forehands down the line, then there was little Diego could do. He just, as I said, it doesn't develop the pace on his first serve, which is nothing really he can do about. At 2-0, it was a very long way back for Diego Schwartzman. The returns got easier for Rafa as the match progressed, reading the serve and better as the match went on. It's probably the best I've seen Rafa in this event in set 3 for the most of it. I had the ball in the string for a few games, power and forehands and backhands into the corners. Diego defended fantastically well, but Rafa just too good, too relentless. But at the back end of the third set, when you expect Rafa to be ruthless and serve the match out and just run away with the match and make a real statement, he was flat. He made quite a few unforced errors that are very uncharacteristic. Wasn't ruthless at all. Got broke back twice in the third set. That got to a tie break, and although Rafa was very clinical in the tie break and played well, I don't think it was fantastic from Rafa. He looked nervous at times, tired. I thought his footwork wasn't great at the back end of that third set. He did win the big moments, as Rafa has done throughout his career, played some great points at important times, but overall I'd say his performance is probably a 6 or 7 out of 10. As I've just said, at the big stages of matches he returned very aggressively and moved in and won the points quickly, but overall I think he did make quite a few enforced errors and did look a little flat at times, give away 4 or 5 of service games, which would be disappointing to get brought that many times against a player like Schwartzman. But Rafa's into the final without dropping a set on conditions that aren't suiting after playing one prep event, so you can't read too much into it. He's into Sunday's final against Novak Djokovic. But yeah, I'll touch on more in the preview video what I believe he needs to do to win on Sunday. But moving on to Tsitsipas against Djokovic, which was undoubtedly match of the day. This match started a little bit like the Nadal Schwartzman in the sense that the champion didn't start great. Novak Djokovic on this occasion had to save 4 break points in the opening game. You learn as you watch more tennis that this isn't a fluke. As you watch Nadal and Djokovic, the amount of break points that they save and the level of tennis that they produce in the big moments, they do it time and time again, and that's why they win title after title. Djokovic got a brilliant break at the start of the first set, and I actually think he really liked the pace of the ball that Tsitsipas was developing in that first set. He was reading him well, he was counter punching, redirecting the play, putting the pressure back on Tsitsipas, and I think at times against Pablo Carreño Busta he was sort of forced into being the aggressor, which doesn't suit Novak. I don't think he's a player that likes to develop his own pace. I think he's better on the run, particularly on the forehand side and spotting it back cross court. I think he done that very well in the opening couple of sets against Tsitsipas. And yeah, he looked great in the first set, and served it out well. In the second set, I believe it was very close. It was 6-2 on the scoreboard, but I believe Tsitsipas created, was it 9 or 10, I believe, break points across the first 2 sets and didn't take any. Djokovic defended them fantastically well, served very well, looked for the big forehand, and yeah, got the 6-2 set. But I believe Tsitsipas was 40-love up in both service games that he dropped, so it was just as almost lapse in concentration, and Djokovic taking seize of the moment. At 3 in the third set, when Djokovic 2 sets up, you're thinking, it's just a matter of time. If as long as Djokovic keeps serving well, he hadn't been broken all day. He just needs a one break of serve, which came at 4-4. We see it many times from Federer, from Thiem, from Djokovic, from Nadal. At 4-4 and 5-5, if sets the break and the serve it out, they always produce a fantastic return game at the end of each set. And Djokovic done exactly that to break at 5-4, and you're thinking, Djokovic hasn't been broken all day. He's going to serve it out for a routine win, but that wasn't to be the case. Tsitsipas, to his credit, 22 years old, just in his second ever Grand Slam semi-final against Novak Djokovic, a player who's looked more or less unbeatable this year. Tsitsipas could have called it a day. He could have said, I've had a good event, I've tried my best today, I've played some good tennis in patches, but I've been beat off the better player. But he did not lie down. Tsitsipas came out firing. I think he was better when the pressure was off. He sort of just free swing from the hip. The single-handed backhand and forehand just started to fly down the lines, and winners were just flying all over the court that even Djokovic couldn't live with. He eventually went 6-5 up in the third set, and you're thinking, at least Djokovic, he's going to get to a tie break, and we know what a fantastic record he's got in tie breaks. And yeah, Tsitsipas again brought Djokovic for the second consecutive time after not breaking throughout the match. The level of tennis that Tsitsipas produced for around an hour from the third and fourth set was just incredible. Even Djokovic couldn't live with the level that he was producing at times. As I say, the winners flying from forehand and backhand. He didn't have a negative. Djokovic couldn't neutralise his power. Wherever Djokovic hit the ball, he would hit it twice as hard straight down the line. And yeah, he took that third set to pass, and you could see the sort of sense of the belief that he could come back and win the match. And Djokovic, I believe he regrouped well at the start of the fourth. He refocused after having match point. He probably thought, he could have easily thought, I should have had this match won, and had a relapse. And he fought back well in the fourth set to level up at 2-2. And how Djokovic did not win that fourth set, I will never know. It would have been very hard to recover as a Djokovic fan if he'd lost that match after the way he lost that fourth set. I mean, massive credit to Tsitsipas first. I think Djokovic had 12 break points in the fourth set. He obviously took 1 to break back early in the fourth, but after that I think he had break points 2 or 3 in every single game. And I said on Twitter the level of play that Tsitsipas produced on every single break point to defend him was quite incredible. I mean, even though Djokovic should no doubt have won that set, you look back on them and I don't think he could have done anything more than he did on any of the 11 break points. I mean, Tsitsipas just either aced him down the tee, served out wide and followed in with a forehand that literally painted the line. In every time Tsitsipas has produced some ridiculous phase of play to see off the break points, and when it got to 5-4 Tsitsipas with Djokovic serving at 5-4, I did say to my mum who I was watching with, this has got a Tsitsipas break written all over it. Djokovic has pretty much dominated the set, hasn't looked any problem holding serve. It's a matter of time until he breaks. He misses 11 breakpoint opportunities, and it would be typical for Tsitsipas to break Djokovic now and see out the set, and that's exactly what happened. Djokovic was 40-15 up. Tsitsipas won 4 points in a row to force it aside, and I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing. As I say, I've said before, so much credit to Tsitsipas, to play a 22-year-old to fight, show the class and ability that he did against 17-time Grand Slam champion. Is all credit to him, and what a future he's going to have in the game. In the fifth set, I think Djokovic's experience shone through. He refocused very well. I think Tsitsipas was still on a high and overhit the ball. Made a lot of unforced errors in that fifth set, but Djokovic just sort of refocused. Still, obviously, felt he was favourite in the match, and he was going to win the match, and he just focused on making his first serve, making returns, keeping the ball in court, and I think Tsitsipas was feeling it. He didn't move great in the fifth, didn't play well at all, and Djokovic didn't have to do a great deal to win the match, but he did return exceptionally well, kept the point short, and just flew winners off his racket, and did eventually take it 6-1. Again, playing a fantastic return game. He broke Tsitsipas 3 times, I believe, in that fifth set, and finished it with a fantastic return winner. So yeah, it was a match that Djokovic looked in absolute cruise control, and he looked like he was going to win in 2 hours. Tsitsipas battled hard in the first 2 sets, but just ultimately got outclassed in the bigger stages, which is what I expected to happen. I did not for 1 minute see Tsitsipas coming back to the 4-seed decider. But as I say, massive credit to unbelievable comeback, and yeah, Djokovic's experience and fitness and ability to just make first serves and make fantastic returns in the fifth set got him over the line. But Tsitsipas can, leave Roland Garros this year with his head absolutely held high. Top 5 in the world, 22-year-old. He's got a massive future ahead of him. If he can keep producing tennis hard against players like Novak Djokovic, then the sky is his limit. So moving on to Sunday's finally. Rafa Nadal against Novak Djokovic, and at the start of my Roland Garros preview before the tournament started, I predicted Novak Djokovic to beat Rafa Nadal in the thrilling final. So, not far away, not a bad prediction. I don't see Rafa winning this final, even though Djokovic, he's played an hour more than Rafa. I said at the start of the tournament, I don't think conditions are going to suit Rafa in the knot. The low bouncing ball, heavy courts, slow balls, or heavy balls and slow courts. It's been a long day. Either way, the courts aren't playing well for Rafa. The conditions aren't suiting the courts. Look slightly damp, which is affecting the bounce of the ball, which certainly isn't suiting Rafa either. I'm not sure what the weather forecast's like on Sunday. I haven't got that far ahead yet. But the lack of prep event as well for Rafa, I thought he looked slightly tired. His footwork was poor at the back end of the third set against Schwartzman. It would have been very interesting how that went to 4. We know against Djokovic it's going to be a war. If Rafa wins, it's going to be in 4 or 5 sets, probably over a good 3 or 4 or 5 hour battle. Whether Rafa's up to maintaining a level that's capable of beating Djokovic for that length of time, I'm not sure of. He's just played the 1 prep event. As I've said, it's his 2nd tournament since February, I believe. Whereas Djokovic has played the US, he played in Cincinnati, played in Rome, won that title, and obviously played this, so he's much more fresh, much more geared up for a Grand Slam tournament. Played a lot more tennis than what Rafa has this year. He's got the winning experience. He's won, titles in Cincinnati, a title in Rome. the Australian Open, so he's got that winning momentum. He's unbeaten this year in matches that he's completed. Everything sort of points towards Djokovic. Rafa has obviously won 12 Grand Slam title, 12 Roland Garros titles in the past, but conditions are a hell of a lot different this year than what's been there previous. And also he hasn't had to play Novak Djokovic in the last 2 finals. So yeah, how do I see Rafa winning this match potentially? I think he has to start well and win the opening set. I think, as I've said before, I don't think Rafa's at his absolute peak physical condition. So I think for Rafa it's important that he keeps the points short. I don't think he's going to be capable of rallying with Djokovic from the back of the court, especially when the courts are playing slow. You're getting a more average rally length. I think any rallies over 10 plus shots are going to go in Djokovic's favour, certainly over the distance. I think Rafa has to return well, be aggressive off Djokovic's second serve, look to get in the forehand, look to paint the lines, move in, attack the net. I think he has to keep the points short, start the match incredibly well. There's not really a negative side to Djokovic. You can't really target his backhand or his forehand. He's solid all over the court, going forward and backwards, and it's, for me, I do believe Djokovic wins this match. How does Djokovic win the match? Keep it long, rally from deep, keep Rafa on the move, try and negate the forehand, with slices. He's playing the drop shot incredibly well. I think today was probably the best use of the drop shot that Djokovic has had. Nailed it pretty much every time. Again, Tsitsipas today. But yeah, for Djokovic, I believe just do what you've done this year, really. Play tennis. Djokovic can play any style of tennis, moving into the court, rallying from deep, counter punching on the run, served fantastically well, I believe, today. And I think if Djokovic turns up and plays 90-100%, then I believe he's just too good for Rafa. He's got a fantastic head-to-head record against Rafa over the past 4 or 5 years. He's beaten him pretty much every time. It's not a good matchup for Rafa, and also the conditions are going to favour Djokovic rather than Nadal, in my opinion. So I do believe Djokovic wins in probably 4 sets. So just lastly, I think Rafa needs to start incredibly fast, gain the respect of Djokovic and sort of stamp his authority on the match early. Rafa, I think you need to be aggressive, land forehands down the line, and serve very well. Don't think he served particularly well today, and Djokovic, we know how good a returner he is. He'll really punish the Rafa second serve. We all know Rafa likes to put a lot of spin in the first serve, but I don't think spin's a massive factor on these courts, so his serve is struggling, and I'm sure Djokovic will certainly be attacking that. And for Djokovic, just more the same, clean tennis and not making enforced errors that he unusually does, and just be aggressive when possible. On the Rafa return games, he needs to move in and attack around the net, use the drop shots like he's done all week. But it's going to be a fantastic final. I hope both players turn up and play the best. For Djokovic, I think everyone always knows it's the hardest task of the year, and for any player to beat Rafa at the French Open. We've got the world number 1 who's been more or less unbeatable this year against the 12-time French Open champion. So it's the best against the best, and the best person to win on Sunday. I can't wait for it, and my final prediction is Djokovic to win in 4 sets. Sorry if this video has been a little bit all over. I've been watching tennis since about 2 o'clock, and it's now 10 o'clock in the UK, but I wanted to react to the matches straight after while they're still fresh in the mind, and get me final preview up as soon as I could. So recording this before going to bed, before watching the women's final tomorrow and the men's final on Sunday. But yeah, it's been a fantastic Grand Slam. Brilliant to have this level of tennis back. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching it every day. Thanks to anybody who's watched the video or tuned into one of my live text commentaries. I will be actually doing a commentary of the final on Sunday, so I'll leave a link to the website I'm working for in the description below, and also my Twitter account. But thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe, and also leave your prediction for the final in the comments below. See you on the next video.